Lisa Broyles here with Way to Health MD, and this is another video in my series on the book Blind Spots by Dr. Marty Makary. And this series is talking about cholesterol. What actually causes the arteries to harden and form plaque and heart disease? Is it really eating fat like we've been led to believe by the American Heart Association? Well, I'll go ahead and tell you the answer is no. There's actually been found to be no link between eating fat and that fat causing heart disease. Okay, we now know that heart disease is due to inflammation in the heart arteries, and this inflammation is mostly caused by lifestyle, the type of food that you're eating. Are you eating food that's high in trans fats, which are highly processed foods that have a shelf life of being able to, say, last a year, like Little Debbie's? When you go to a fast food restaurant and you order those French fries, it's not the potato that's the problem, it's the oil that it's cooked in that is heated over and over and becomes very rancid and very inflammatory and becomes a trans fat, which hardens, gets incorporated into your cell walls, and then prevents your brain cells from talking to each other, your cells in your body from talking to each other, decreases your sex hormone production. So cholesterol is a very powerful, important substance that we need for our cells to be healthy. So this whole mistruth, okay, about fat causing cholesterol and the fad of low-fat diets started back with the 7-country study by a gentleman named Dr. Ansel Keys. And he actually was not a physician, and he falsely concluded that high-fat diets were causing heart disease. And unfortunately, the American Heart Association jumped on board and promoted that for many, many years. So why did this happen? Well, the 7-country study, Dr. Ansel Keys actually did not use any countries that did not agree with his hypothesis. So he eliminated Germany, Switzerland, and France, who were all high-fat diet countries with low incidence of heart disease. And instead, he chose countries that supported his theory. He only chose about 30 people from each study, and he also conducted his study during Lent for most of it, which Lent is a time when a lot of people give up fat and meat in their diet. So that also skewed his results. So Mr. Keys went on to do another study in the 1960s of 9,000 people, and guess what? His study showed that there was absolutely no correlation between a high-fat diet and high cholesterol and heart disease. And do you know what he did with those results? He removed himself from the name of the study, buried the results, and they were not published for 16 years. So those results were finally published as the Minnesota Heart Study by Dr. France, who was his partner. Then the NIH Framingham Heart Study data, which was collected from 1948 to 1960, also showed no link between a high-fat diet and heart disease. And this was by Dr. Mann, M-A-N-N. It was finally published in 1992. And do you know why there was a delay from the 1960s to the 1990s? Dr. Mann himself said he was threatened that if he released these results, he would never get another grant and he would be ruined as far as his career as an academic, which actually did happen when he released these results in 1992. You can read more about this in Dr. Makary's book, and he's got all the studies and links. So basically, heart disease is caused by inflammation. And yes, the foods we eat do matter in the sense that you shouldn't be eating junk food that's high in trans fats, tons of preservatives. You need to eat organic as much as possible. Foods that are decreasing inflammation are going to decrease your risk of heart disease. So yes, you can eat fat. You can have eggs, especially free-range eggs. There was a study done in 2020 on people eating eggs, and they polled 177,000 people and found that those that ate at least 7 eggs per week actually had a decreased risk of all-cause mortality, decreased risk of heart disease, and decreased cholesterol. So think about it the next time you go to get your cholesterol checked. There are many factors that go into heart disease, not just your total amount of cholesterol. Most of it is actually genetically produced by the liver, and very little is absorbed from our diet, but it's not the fat in our diet that's causing it. Thank you.